Hey everyone, it's Kier. Welcome to class. Today's class will be doing a short flow to work on our step forwards. So it involves a lot of compression, active compression. So we'll work a lot through our shoulders, our upper back, and our core, and our hip flexors as well. So it will be a little bit of work, but it should be a short one, and hopefully will improve your step forwards. So whenever you're ready, we'll go ahead and meet in tabletop position. So finding tabletop, hands under shoulders, knees under hips. Go ahead and just take a few cat-cows here to open up a little bit. So on your inhale, pulling your chest through, arching your back. Exhaling, rounding the spine. Tailbone comes towards the floor, chin towards chest. Again, pulling your chest through and up. Exhaling, rounding down. One more, inhaling, pulling through. And exhaling, rounding down. Working into our wrists a little bit, we'll do some palm peels. So keeping your fingers completely glued to the mat, spread them out nice and wide. And from here, with your fingers fully extended, start to peel your palms off the mat, really pushing into the base of your knuckles, and then roll your hands back down. You can intensify this by leaning forward, leaning your weight a little further over your wrists, and you can make it a little easier by leaning back. But just try and feel a little bit of work into your wrists here, just waking them up, making sure they're active, ready to do the work that we're about to ask them to do. And while you're doing your palm peels, make sure that your core is still tucked in. Your hips are still level, nothing's sagging. A little bit of awareness to every part of your body. And when you're ready, go ahead and flip your palms so that your fingertips face back towards your knees. And just lean forwards and backwards, stretching into your wrists. Trying to extend your thumbs completely. I know that sounds silly, but it might actually surprisingly feel much different if you really straighten out your thumbs. Get a little twinge of extra stretch with that. And then bringing your palms back to center. We'll go ahead and sit back onto our heels. Interlace your fingers and face your palms up towards the sky. Arching through your back here, pulling your chest through. And then rounding down, pulling your hands out to the space in front of you, really tucking your chin towards your chest. Keeping this rounded position, drop your hands to your knees and pull yourself even further into a round. So really trying to round the upper back, pulling your chin towards your chest. On your inhale, keeping your hands on your knees, pull your chest forward, really articulating through the lower back, pulling your core in, tilting your tailbone up. And then reversing again, pulling into that rounded position. One more, inhaling, pulling through. Nice work. From here, we'll go ahead and drop our hands right by our thighs. So fingertips a little bit behind your knees, but really glued next to your thighs. We're going to do what's called flying integration or Lalasana preparation. And basically, we'll be pushing our hands and our feet really hard into the mat and rounding through the upper back as we try and keep our hips low. So I'll show you what it looks like. I'm going to push into my hands, pull my feet towards me, pull my knees to my collarbones, and then stay here. I'm pushing hard into my feet, hard into my hands, and really trying to round through this space between my shoulder blades right at the base of my neck. So when you're ready, coming with me, inhaling to prepare, and on your exhale, pushing hands and feet, trying to keep those hips low, setting up your position. Max effort here for just 10 seconds. 9, 8, pulling your chin towards your chest. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release that. Bring your arms up and overhead. And just bring a little bit of spinal rolls here. So maybe leaning side to side with your arms up, maybe back and forward, maybe tiny little circles. Again, just working into our spines. When you're ready, pull your elbows out into a cactus, cactusing them down towards your hips, really arching through your spine. And then drop your fingertips right behind your toes, pushing your hands and your shins into the mat. Start to lift your hips lightly, not a big back bend here, just lightly getting into our back body. And then release that back down. We'll do Lalasana prep one more time, a little variation on that. So when you're ready, inhaling to prepare, hands down by your knees, and exhaling, pulling your knees to your collarbones, pushing firmly, hands and feet, for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. On 1, lift your left foot towards your glute. Everything else is pushing firmly for 3, 2, 1, and switch. Right foot lifts. 3, 2, 1. Drop both feet for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Nice work. That's a hard pose. It looks very easy, but it's not. So give yourself a pat on the back for that one. I sure do every time. And then walking your hands back out. Go ahead and find plank pose. So get settled into your plank again. Make sure your fingertips are nice and active. Pull that energy all the way up through your arms. Really pushing your shoulders up. Engage through your legs. Turn on your lower core. Turn on your glutes. Everything is working here. And we'll do some scapula push-ups. So everything stays the same except for our scapula, which is our shoulder blades. So we're going to dip our shoulder blades down and then protract pushing up for just 5. Push. 4. Push. 3. Push. 2. And 1. Drop your knees and sit back to your heels once again, taking a little break. It's a lot of work in our shoulders. So just take a moment, roll them out. Blow your neck around. And crawling your hands back forward, we'll find downward facing dog. Stepping into your downward dog, walk it out. Start to feel into what your downward dog feels like today. And from here, bend your knees deeply and start to pull your tailbone down towards the floor as you round through your back and roll forward into plank pose. In your plank pose, bend your elbows out towards the side a little bit and then scoop them back and underneath and push back up. So that should really spin the eyes of your elbows forward. Your triceps are back. Turns on your biceps and your triceps. Looking out a little bit in front of you, pulling your collarbones through. And then bending your knees and rolling back up into downward facing dog. One more roll forward, bending the knees. Tuck the tailbone and roll into plank. Nice straight arms, really pushing through the hands, pushing through the fingertips, protracting through the shoulders. And then bending through the knees and back, downward facing dog. This time we'll roll forward into plank and drop our knees, staying in this knees down plank variation. And we'll take 5 push-ups with our knees down here. Just warming up again into our arms, into our shoulders. So looking forward, engage your core, turn on your glutes, everything's firing, triceps towards the back. And lower your chest and chin down to the mat. Rise back up. For 4. Rise. 3. 2. And on 1. Crawl yourself back onto your toes and the toe stretch here. Just sitting on your heels nice and tall. Give yourself a second to just roll your wrists out. And from here, go ahead and put your hands flat towards the ceiling like you're carrying a plate. We're going to try and keep our palms facing up as we spin our wrists, spin our fingertips in towards each other as far as you can until they can't go any further without flipping. And then flip them down towards the ground as you spin your fingertips down. And then reflip up as you come out, spinning your fingertips out towards the side and then towards your shoulders. We'll go back around, so fingertips out towards the side, out in front of you, in towards each other, and then flip your hands down as you spin down. Just kind of working through all aspects of the range of motion in your wrist. Just play around for now with whatever feels good. And then walking your hands back out, finding downward dog again. This time rolling forward right into plank, and we'll take anywhere between 3 and 5 push-ups from here. Knees up if you can. If your form is going to fall or fail during that, then drop your knees. It's so much better to do good form than bad form. So when you're ready, pushing up 3 to 5 rounds. And then hips up and back, downward dog. Rise your right leg this time. Go ahead and open up your hip, roll through your knee, and then re-square everything back down. You're going to pull your knee in towards your nose as you roll forward into that plank pose on the tippy toes of your left foot. And then extend back into 3-legged dog. Again, pulling forward, rounding through the upper back as you pull your knee in towards your chest and your nose. And extend 3-legged dog. One more. Bending through the knee, pulling in. And exhaling, stepping back. Downward dog, and curl your hands back towards your toes for just a moment. Inhale, extend, halfway lift, hands to shins, long spine. Exhale, fold forward. Again, rising, halfway lift. And stay here for a moment. Really push your toes into the mat. Feel that stretch on the back side of your legs. Really turning on your hamstrings. So fire through your quads to really stretch through the backs of your legs. And pulse here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Fold all the way down. Forward fold. Inhaling, halfway lift. Exhaling, crawling your hands back out, downward facing dog. Right when you get there, lift your left leg up. Exhaling, pulling your knee in towards your nose, rolling forward, left knee this time. Exhale, extending back, 3-legged. Inhale, rolling forward, knee to nose. Exhale, extend it back. Last one, knee to nose. And extend it back. Drop your foot, downward dog. Rolling forward, anywhere between 3 and 5 push-ups again. On your own. Push your hips up and back and downward facing dog. Rise your right foot up, pulling it through. Hold it here. So nice extension through your arms, really pulling the eyes of the elbows forward, really pushing through the upper shoulders, pulling the knee in as tight as you can, holding here and then leaning forward even more so that your fingertips are really active. Holding, holding, holding. And then just release your knee down towards the mat. Staying here for just a moment. And then crawling your other knee behind your right knee. So back knee behind left, right. And sitting down with your knees on top of each other into Gomukhasana, legs. So just a little hip stretch here for a moment. If this is too challenging, just come out of it. It's really Not important. But if you're here, sit here with a nice tall spine. Let your hips figure this out for just a moment. And then rolling back over your knees. Drop your hands and step back, downward facing dog. Lift your left leg this time. Pull your knee in towards your nose and hold. Nice extension through the arms. Really, really turning on that core to pull the thigh and the knee in towards your chest and nose. Leaning over your hands, turning on your fingertips. My fingertips are white. I'm really using them. It's not in my wrists, it's in my hands. I'm on the tips of my right toes. Pulling even closer in towards your chest for 3, 2, 1. Drop your knee. Sitting here, pulling your chest through. And then right knee behind left. Let your heels come outside of your hips as you sit back as far as you can. You can be up like this. It can be all the way down. Everybody's hips are different, so honor that. And just sit here for a moment. Stretching into your hips. Coming back over your knees. Find downward facing dog. We'll do a couple more exercises here. So first, rolling forward, let's hit 3 to 5 more push-ups. It's probably going to be our last round, so give it your all on your own. Rolling back into downward dog. Lift your right leg up. Pull it in towards your nose. And then extend 3-legged. This time pulling it outside of your right arm. So really up towards your tricep. Pulling it towards your armpit. And then re-extend. And then crossing over to left tricep. Pulling it up towards your left armpit as much as you can. And then re-extend. This time as you pull in towards your nose, extend through your arms, pull everything in, and then try and drop your foot between your hands. Wherever it is, just push it forward if it needs to come forward. Drop your back knee, rise into Anjaneyasana. Stretch through your left hip flexor for a moment. Give yourself a breather. Arms can be up, they can be down, it doesn't matter. This stuff comes with time and practice. Nobody is good at everything all at once. It just takes time. So give yourself a moment to laugh at yourself, to find joy in the process. And straighten through your front leg. Half splits over your front leg. Pulling your right hip back in space a little bit, really extending long over your leg. Bending back into your right knee. We'll step forward, left foot by right into chair pose. So rising nice and tall, but hips are low. Bending into the knees, arms overhead. Sinking, 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 and then sink as far as you can until your butt plops onto the mat. Do a little bit of core work here. Come all the way down onto your back. Rise your legs overhead. Keeping your hands by your hips. Start to lift your toes towards the ceiling, but try to not let them come towards your head. So really just engaging through the lower core. Hopefully get some nice little stomach rolls. Really turning on that lower core. Lifting only your lower back. For 10. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This time, keeping your legs up. Extend your fingertips towards your toes, lifting your shoulder blades off the mat, and then rise only your hands towards your toes. So really just lifting your upper back for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring your knees in towards your chest, bending through the knees. From here, hands down by your side. We'll curl our knees in towards our collarbones as we lift our lower back. And then extend everything out towards the mat. Straighten the legs, but hover them 6 inches. Then curl them back in. Lift your lower back. Re-extend. Straighten legs. Curl them in. Lift lower back. Re-extend. Straight. For just 2 more. Extend. And 1. Extend. Nice. From here, plant your heels down, keeping them out a little bit. So bend in the knees, but heels are down. You can lift your toes off the mat. We'll rise our shoulder blades and upper back off the mat. So keeping our fingertips facing towards our toes. From here, really glue your lower back onto the mat to really feel the connection between your back and the floor. You can keep your knees or you can keep your heels planted here, or you can come and rise them with me into low boat, really extending through your legs. This is freaking hard. I'm shaking. So we'll just hold it for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. On 1, rise up, high boat, knees towards chest, long spine, and then back into low boat for just 4, 3, 2, on 1, back into low boat for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ooh, drop everything down and just roll yourself back up. We'll come over our knees back into downward facing dog. Rise your left leg up and then pull your knee in towards your nose. Re-extending back up, 3-legged this time. Outside of your left arm, pulling up towards your shoulder, keeping your shoulders level though. And then re-extend. And pull in, switching towards the right side, pulling your knee up towards your armpit. And then re-extend. This time pulling your knee in towards your nose. Extend through the arms, push through the shoulders, and plop the foot in between the hands as close as you can get. Drop your back knee and rise. Anjaneyasana. Low crescent lunge. Extending through your right hip flexor. Sinking your hips down towards the mat. And then straightening over your left leg. Curling your toes up towards the sky as you pull your hip back into place. Rebending into your front leg, step forward, chair pose. Rising nice and tall with your upper body, pulling your lower core in. Arms by your ears, and then sink all the way down. 1 more round of core work, and then we're almost done with today's class. So come all the way onto your back. From here, extend your right leg out straight and hover it, and then extend your left leg overhead. Keeping this L position with your legs, we're going to just lift our lower back so that both of our legs kind of pulse towards our head for just 10. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and just switch legs. So right overhead, left extend, lower back lifts for 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Nice. Bring your knees in, or your heels in on the ground, bending your knees. Let your fingertips touch your heels. From here, rise your hips up into bridge pose. Holding here. And then drop your hips down. We'll do 10 rises, so rise, lower, for 9, 8, turning on your glutes, 7, as you lift, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, lower. One more round of our favorite boat pose position. So again, extending your feet out a little bit, heels on the mat, rise your upper back, your shoulders. And then re-extend your legs if you can, if you want to. And hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Rising up into high boat. And then lower. Rise, lower. For 3, 2, and 1. Holding low boat. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Drop everything. Bend your knees. Come back over. Rolling over your body back into downward dog. One more round of step forwards and then we'll call it a day. So rising right leg up, pulling knee in towards nose. Extend through your arms and then re-extend three-legged. This time outside of the right arm. Three-legged dog. Cross body left arm. Three-legged dog. And then pull it through. Stepping forward as far as you can, using all of that compression work that we've done, all of the shoulder work that we've done. Drop your back knee. Anjaneyasana for just a second. And then bending over your front leg. Half splits. We'll rise into chair pose. But don't worry, I won't make you do more core. We'll just fold over our legs from here. Halfway lift. And then hands back to the mat. Step back. Downward dog. Inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, pull it through. Knee to nose. Re-extend. Pull it through outside of left arm. Re-extend. Pull it through right arm, cross body. Re-extend. And then stepping forward using all of your power to step it between your hands. Drop your back knee. And rise Anjaneyasana. Exhale, folding over. Half splits. Looking forward, stepping forward. Chair pose. Rising, nice tall torso, sinking into your hips. And then forward fold. Over your legs. Rising, halfway lift. And sinking back into your knees. Drop your tush all the way to the mat. And we'll just roll all the way down to our backs, ending today's class in a bridge pose. So we're setting up for bridge. Heels nice and close, shoulders under your back, and pushing your feet down to rise your hips. Maybe rolling your shoulder blades under your back body, interlacing your hands and pushing your hands into the mat. Allowing everything, all of that compression work to stretch out in this pose. When you're ready, releasing all the way to the mat. Extending everything out into whatever pose you want to take or Shavasana. Taking a nice deep breath to settle your body into the floor. Allowing yourself the space and the time for gratitude, for relaxation, to completely decompress from all of that compression work that we just did. There's a lot of core, a lot of shoulders, a lot of hip flexors. That's the kind of stuff, if you want to keep working on your step forwards, I would recommend working on active compression through exercises like that. Thank you for joining me. Hope you enjoyed. Namaste.